All right, what's up, Holmes? What's up, Holmes? You come here often, Holmes? You don't come here often enough. All right. I'm making this video for you. And this is provided you have, I guess, the latest version of Lightroom. If not, I'll show you how to do it in Photoshop. But anyway, it's about taking out someone in a picture, taking out an object that you don't want. And in Lightroom, they have a new feature that's called Content Aware Fill, and it's now in Lightroom. It's always been in Photoshop, but it's in Lightroom now. So anyway, without further ado, let me share my screen. All right. And what I did was I opened up Lightroom. I just imported the photos into Lightroom, so you know how to do that already. And let me get this menu down here. So these are the photos that I shot over at San Antonio Falls, and so I chose this one, the last one, as the one that I wanted to use. Just a little bit how I set it up. I put it on a tripod really low, used a super wide angle lens. I think it was like 11 millimeters to get the foreground water in and the blur. I wanted to blur this out, so I put a neutral density filter on, a 6-stop, and got my shutter speed down to, I think, I don't know, 1/4 of a second or something like that. Anyway, there's 2 people in here that I want to get out. And also, when I set up this shot, it's like really crooked. So I want to level out the horizon. So what I'm going to do, and this is what you should see in the develop module here, when you go to the develop module. So the first thing I want to do is go all the way down, open up all your tabs here, and go all the way down to the tab that says transform. And then I'm going to just rotate this and constrain the crop. So as you rotate, it's going to automatically crop the sides. So if I grab the rotate slider and I start turning it, this is the way I want to turn it so that this horizon is level, and you can see it automatically crops. So just kind of keep doing this until it looks like it's level, and that looks better. So with the / key above your return key, you go before and after. So that looks better. Okay, next thing I'm going to do is let's get these guys out of here. You know, when I turn this and cropped it, you can see that when I rotated this, you can see here's the original, and this guy's in it. But by the time I rotated it, he's out, so I don't have to deal with him. So this is the only person right here. Okay, now if you have the latest version of Lightroom, what you're going to do is go up to this Band-Aid icon here. And then you're going to come down to this icon right here, which is called the Content Aware Remove tool. And when you click on that, you're going to get a circle. And the way you adjust your circle is with your scroll wheel, smaller or larger. And then you can bring that up and make it just about the size of the object that you want to eliminate. So I've got this circle size just covering the top of his head, the bottom of his foot. And then it's as simple as just clicking, and it's analyzing it, and then it just analyzes all of the area around it and kind of fakes it and figures out what you might want to have put in there. And so when you click on the Band-Aid again, this circle will go away and you can see what the result is. And so that's the result. Again, with the / key above your return key, I would go before and after, before and after. And if you want to see just the last move that you made, just slide this down here over here. And go down to history, and you can see all the moves that you made. So I opened up the photo, I constrain the crop on the right side. I did a rotation. I did another rotation. And then I did the content aware elimination. So that's what that looks like. Okay, so now I've got a photo with nobody in it. And now I want to kind of figure out what to do. Now, what I've done in my Lightroom is that I've set up presets, and that's kind of like a whole different tutorial on how to do that. But instead of doing all these sliders every single time, I set up a basic preset for landscape photography and portrait photography. So here's my basic landscape preset. You can see when I hover over it, it sharpens it and creates more high dynamic range, more detail in the image. So I'm going to click on that, and you can see that the sliders are all preset to go to a certain setting. And then if you want to come back and make adjustments to that, you can. But for the most part, I start here. And then I'm going to go to the presence, and you can see presence down here, right here. And when I click presence, first of all, landscape presets these sliders. Presence is going to change these sliders here. So I'll click presence, and you can see I have these adjustments. And then I'm going to go to chromatic aberration, click that. I'm going to go to landscape vignetting. I like to kind of darken the corners. In fact, I'm going to do this even more drastically because it brings focus to the center. And so when you darken the edges or the tops and bottoms, then the eye goes more towards the center. So I'm going to hit landscape vignetting. And, there's a lot of other things that you can do with this as far as changing color. Like if I wanted to change the color of the sky, I could come down to the hue, saturation, and color slider and come up to the blues and maybe desaturate the sky a little bit. Okay, you can see desaturation takes all the blue out. So if that's a little too strong a blue, or I can lighten up the blue a little bit, maybe kind of like that a little bit better. I can intensify the greens here. So if I go to the green areas and kind of lighten up the greens maybe and oversaturate the greens a bit. That might give a little bit more oomph to that. Yeah, lighten up those greens a little bit. But what it does is that it lightens up all the greens in the entire photo. So you might want to kind of look around and see what other greens you have, and you might not want to do that if there's a lot of other greens that you don't want to oversaturate. Okay, so like I said, I was going to do a little bit more vignetting on this. So I'm going to actually use this tool here, which is the linear or radial gradient. And I'm going to click on that radial gradient and just kind of click and drag a oval. And then I'm going to kind of drag that oval in here. Maybe make it a little bit bigger. So I'll just kind of stretch that up, stretch that down, stretch that off to the side a little bit. Okay. And then I'm going to see the orange area is what's going to be affected. And what I want to do in this case is I want to invert the selection here. So I want everything that's on the outside to be affected rather than everything on the inside. So I'm going to invert that so you can see what happens there. And then just to show, so you can see what's happening, I'm going to take the overlay of orange off. And then I'm going to come to the exposure and just kind of start slowly darkening that. And you can see what happens. That's extreme. And then when you pull that back out, it kind of like really darkens up the corner. And now you can really see how the eye goes to this center area here. Again, before and after, hit the backslash key. This is before and after. Before and after. And again, the sky looks a little phony here, so I'm going to actually click off of this now and go back up, go down to my color, and I'm going to lighten up the blues a little bit and maybe desaturate that sky. That sky looks a little, yeah, something more like that. I don't know, might be okay. All right, so that's the photo that I'm going to go with, and then I'm going to put the watermark underneath that. So I'm ready to export this. I'm going to go up to File and Export. And then what I'm going to do, what I have done in this is I have some watermarks that I loaded in this. So that is under my watermark, and the watermark that I'm going to use is the portrait watermark because this is a portrait photo. I have landscape and panos and like that. So I'm going to use a portrait watermark and click export. It's going to export to the desktop. You can have this export to anywhere you want on your hard drive. Sometimes you want to put it right in your main hard drive, but I'm going to do this on the desktop for now. And I always uncheck put in subfolder because if not, if this is checked, it's going to put it in a blue folder here. And then I'm just going to export and look up here in the upper left, and you can see it going to start exporting. And this computer is pretty fast, so it does it pretty quick. Here's my photo. And if I double click on this, it'll open in preview. And then I can evaluate this and take a look-see at what this looks like. Just open this up and cover this. And I'm going to do that. Yeah, it might be a little bit harsh around the corners here, but for the most part, this is the main focal point here. This looks kind of fake and over processed. This doesn't look too bad, the left and right side, because, you know, this is dark and it's blurry water. But the sky looks kind of phony, and I don't know. I still like a little blue in here. Okay, so that's the photo, and that's here on my desktop. And stop sharing the screen. And that is it. That's how you do it. And so if you want to learn how to do it in Photoshop, just hang on a sec. I'll be right back, and I'll show you how to do this in Photoshop.